Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 1. The most common myth I hear on a regular basis is bounty hunters have more authority than the police. Not true. So when it comes to pursuing and apprehending the subject that we are looking for, we do have areas that we can operate in that law enforcement can't without warrants and probable cause and things like that. However, we do not have more authority than the police, even when it comes to the subject that we're chasing. We don't have the ability to pull people over, search anybody's house that we want to search. We can't search cars and, we can't arrest people for lying to us. We can't arrest people for hiding somebody. We can press charges on people for hiding somebody, but that's about it. We do not have arrest authority. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 2. We can go anywhere in the United States to get our subject, anywhere we want to go. Not true. There are several states in the United States, and the number is growing, of states that we cannot operate in. And there are states that we can operate in, but we can't just take somebody into custody and leave with them. We have to go through the proper channels. Now, we can get somebody recovered almost anywhere in the United States as long as it's a felony and it's entered on NCIC. But a bounty hunter is not going to the state of Illinois and arresting somebody for DUI from Mississippi, because Illinois will slam you with kidnapping. Now, there are ways to get the job done. It's a lot more complicated, and it usually costs a lot more money than the bond itself is worth. So we can't just go anywhere we want to go and get anybody we want to get, but we can get it done. Dispelling Rumors About Bounty Hunters, Part 3. Tanner versus Taylor was a federal law created to protect bounty hunters in pursuit of their subjects across state lines and entering their homes. Not true. Tanner versus Taylor was a United States Supreme Court case in 1873 about a bondsman that didn't want to pay a bond off because the subject that was supposed to be in court in his jurisdiction was in jail in another jurisdiction. He ultimately lost that case. But during the case, one of the Supreme Court justices made a statement, expressed an opinion about bail bondsmen, bounty hunters, and their authority to arrest. That did not create law. It has been used as case law in defense of bounty hunters and their actions. However, it is not the law. In fact, many states have ruled that that paragraph in the case is dicta, meaning not the holding of the case. The case wasn't about bounty hunters. It was about a surety having to pay a bond. Therefore, they don't recognize it as a legal defense in their court system. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 4. The cosigner can be arrested if they don't turn over the person that they cosigned for to get out of jail. Not true. The cosigner, or indemnitor is what it's actually called, cannot be charged for not turning over somebody that they cosigned for to get out of jail. They can be sued civilly. They can come after you for the amount of the bond if the bondsman has to pay the bond off, but the bounty hunter cannot charge you for not turning over the subject, although it can make your life financially miserable if you don't get the subject to turn themselves in or get them in court. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 5. Bounty hunter can arrest you for hiding somebody in your house that they're looking for. Not true. Bounty hunters do not have arrest authority. We cannot arrest you, detain you, or charge you with a crime. We can go down and sign charges against you with the police, and the police can come arrest you, and you can be charged with hiding somebody, just not right then and there by the bounty hunter. So my suggestion is, if somebody you know is hiding from the law and they're hiding in your house, make them leave or turn them over. But if you're not willing to turn them over, get them out of your house. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 6. Bounty hunters can kick in any door they want to as long as they see their subject enter the home. Not true. There are states putting laws into effect as we speak that prevent bounty hunters from entering a home unlawfully or without permission. So if you're out there kicking in doors, even if you see your subject go in, make sure that you are familiar with the laws of the state that you're in, or you might wind up in jail yourself. Besides that, kicking in doors is really a last result, and it's one of the most dangerous parts of the job that we do. So be careful when you make that decision. It might look fun on YouTube, but it's a good way to wind up dead. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters, Part 7. I can put somebody in handcuffs and detain them and question them about the person that I'm looking for. Not true. If I'm at somebody's house, even if it's the house on record, the address they gave us when they got out of jail, that doesn't mean anything. People that we deal with move all the time. Rarely do I find somebody at the house they gave us when they bonded out of jail. So I don't have the authority to detain somebody, put them in handcuffs, and stop them from leaving or walking away in order to ask them questions about the subject that I'm looking for. If they don't want to talk to me, they don't have to. Now, if they are hiding the subject, then that's another ball game. We can press charges on them if we can prove that they're hiding the subject, but we do not have the authority to detain people for the purposes of questioning. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters Part 8. A bounty hunter can beat the crap out of somebody and get away with it. Not true. If somebody gets injured in the course of us taking them into custody, we can rarely take them to the jail, drop them off, and leave them. The jail, where I'm at, will make us take them to the hospital and get them medically cleared before we can bring them back to the jail. I've had to do this 3 times in my career, not because of something I did, but because the person that I was trying to take into custody was making false claims once we got to the jail, but the jail does not care. They made us take them to the hospital. As a bounty hunter, either you or your licensed agent will be responsible for that medical bill. The county is not responsible for those medical bills. And the subject that you're bringing, as long as they're in your custody, is not responsible for those medical bills. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters Part 9. A bounty hunter can take an online class and be certified as a national bondsman or bail enforcement agent and operate anywhere in the United States. Not true. You have to operate within the laws of the state that you're operating in. For instance, in Texas, you have to hire somebody that is licensed inside the state of Texas in order to do recovery work, and they have to accompany you to go recover your subject. If you fail to do that, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. So when you look online for bail enforcement courses, make sure that that course is certified in the state for which that they are operating. For instance, my school is on the list with the Mississippi Department of Insurance as an authorized education provider for the state of Mississippi license. Dispelling Myths About Bounty Hunters Part 10. Bounty hunters make a boatload of money. Not true. Most bounty hunters I know barely make it financially, and they have to have full-time jobs to pay their bills, but they do bounty hunting on the side and they enjoy what they do. There's not a lot of $1 million bonds out there where you're bringing home a $100,000 paycheck, or even $100,000 bonds where you're bringing home a $10,000 paycheck. Most bondsmen try to clear the case themselves before they hand it over to a bounty hunter. Once they've handed it over to a bounty hunter, it's because they've exhausted all resources. Not to mention, bounty hunters are responsible for their own gas, their own vehicle, their own equipment, their own expenses, software, anything you need to do the job. You have to foot that bill whether you find the person or not. So there's a lot of expense that goes into bounty hunting. I know very few people in the United States that make a living as a full-time bounty hunter. Now, I've already got some concerns about why I'm putting out videos about all of our bounty hunting trade secrets. Well, it's time to save this industry, and the way to save this industry is through educating the people out there doing this job as to the proper way to do it, because a lot of people in this field don't have proper training, and this is the only outlet I have to get the information out there to the people that I feel needs it. So, this train's left the station, bud. If you don't like it, you can either jump off, look the other way, or close your eyes. But this is happening. So, grit your teeth and hold on tight.